I am here with Christian Stauder and Lucas Writings, two of the founding fathers of CHWA, and we're here to talk a little bit about John Holt, both the person and the show. So first, let's start off with this. Who is John Holt to both of you?
Simplest
creator.
put, a brother.
The creator is mine.
The true origin behind CHWA is John Holt.
It is.
Uh,
We were doing shows on the trampoline for fun, and John Holt had a camera, but not much different than the one we're filming this video
oh,
with.
it was very... This was one of those cameras that takes pictures. I remember having that. It was my camera. And I'm just like, oh, look. He said, go get the camera. Okay, I'll get the camera. And then you were in the middle of wrestling Jake Gold at the time, before he was Jake Gold.
Giving him the business.
Ironically, you were Chris Exodus, but you had like a million monikers back then. You were like the Prince of... You basically stole monikers. Prince of Punk, this, that, and all these things.
I was the Fallen Angel before.
You had... Fallen Angel before Harlock eventually came up as one. And I just run back and I'm like, oh, wait, I gotta give him the camera. I'm like, press this. Oh, wait, hey, I'm no ref. I'm jumping onto the trampoline. I'm the ref. I'm just like, literally, the first video clip literally started off with me diving on a trampoline while he's wrestling Jay Gold as the demon. Simply just the demon at the time. And I'm just like, I'm the ref. And I'm rolling on there in like blue plaid shorts and a gray t-shirt. Oh, memories.
Dude, yeah, and he filmed it all, and then, like...
And everything's
the idea to just throw it online.
We just kept recording ever since there.
So, like, to me, in my head, like, he is the creator. Like, there is no CHWA without John Holt Yo. He is the founding father.
Absolutely.
So, like, he's the founding father, and we're all just like a branch of that. Like, he's the founding father.
It's like he's the tree trunk, and we are the branches that split off.
Absolutely.
Into which then took on leaves, and those leaves are like every other person who followed.
The branches. Yeah, exactly. He just
he's the roots, and we became the trunk.
If without him, this video's not being filmed. I'm not sitting here recovering from surgery. You're not probably getting all this cool gear made and like having these banger matches that you're having. Dilly's not sitting here filming this. Like, we're not doing any of this. We're probably just living our lives, probably boring. You have a tax job because you're good with money, and I'm probably, like, working in a warehouse or something physical, and that's what we're doing. And we're probably still hanging out, playing video games.
We're too stubborn to leave each other alone.
Yeah, but, like, we're definitely not... I don't think we're anywhere near where we're at right now, like, without John Holt Yo.
And that's the thing. Like, I also know John was a big inspiration of why you guys went to training schools, and eventually you're now at the point of not just wrestling for CHWA, but you're wrestling in Missouri, you're wrestling for other promotions. Like, you guys are actually wrestling in the area, and it's not just, it's not just a backyard dream anymore.
No, it's crazy to think of where we started. Like, literally on a trampoline in my yard to being part of MMWA's roster. Like, we've been in the historic South Broadway Athletic Club.
That's
we've
been for me.
I've gotten the chance to go all the way up to Chicago and work with like Gallia Lucha. We've had the chances to work with Dynamo Pro in multiple buildings and locations. We've got to meet some big name celebrities. We've wrestled in Indiana. It's like,
man,
we would not...
We got to wrestle in the Chaffetz, dude.
We got to wrestle in Chaffetz.
The Chaffetz Arena in St. Louis, Missouri. I mean, that's crazy to me.
And all to think of a man who was in his early 20s, got diagnosed with stage 3 brain cancer. And if it weren't for him, we wouldn't be where we are. And like, he was the epitome of persistence, the epitome of enduring and positivity. Because all he could do would be, even if he was hurting from some form of surgery or tired from chemo, he would look you in the eye and he would tell you anything and everything that made you want to smile, even if you were down. And
that's true.
All our memories I can think of are going to involve him telling us something uplifting or making jokes, whether it's dancing goofily to like a Taylor Swift song that popped up.
I legitimately can't even remember a time that he got mad at me.
He never got mad. It felt like he never got mad.
Like, I was racking my brain the other night because I was telling Izzy, like, all about how, like, it was so fun, like, growing up, like, as the youngest brother, to like you and Dylan and Josh and then John and like because I would always just be so rambunctious and just start so much shit. But then like with John, I just like push his buttons, nothing would ever happen. And I never push his buttons anymore because I just wanted to talk to him instead.
All he saw was you as him. Like
Yeah,
he called you Mini Me for basically since you first met.
He called me that day he like was leaving.
And
I was saying bye to him. He was telling me.
Yeah.
He's like, love you, Mini Me, da 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 da. Like, damn, dude.
And that is, we're gonna hit into the deep end here. Obviously, before we talk about the show, the big event, Holt Yo, like, we do kind of have to talk about like the part about this that makes Holt Yo special is what happened to John.
Yes.
And the unfortunate circumstance that brain cancer took him.
Yeah. He, like I said, endured. He was strong. He actually beat brain cancer once.
Yeah, he did.
He entered remission. He was even able to move out, get his own apartment, and he had his own life back again. And then suddenly it came back in force.
He was running.
He used to go. He would do 30-day challenges.
Yeah.
And he would do 30-day vegetarian challenge, 30-day workout. He would jog blocks from my house to Dairy Queen at night all the way back, and I don't even know how far that is necessarily, but he would jog it.
That's at least 2 or 3 miles.
2 or 3 miles, and that's to and back.
To Dairy Queen, yeah.
So he's doing at least a 6 mile long jog every night.
In the summer, too.
At night.
Yeah.
He did it when I'd be asleep, and I wouldn't even know he left the house.
Yeah.
And he would do this jog. And this man
so healthy.
Beats cancer at stage 3, goes through remission, has his whole life, and then suddenly stage 4 comes back. Yeah, and everything changed there. Except for he was still somehow positive as ever.
Yeah.
He still could look me in the eye when he could barely get off of a couch. He had to have a catheter just to use the restroom. He was on the couch, and every time I came home from school, I would see him on that couch either watching Robin Hood Men in Tights, Dodgeball The Untold Story, maybe some Marvel film, something, or then when it comes to certain seasons, he was obsessed with FIFA. And I cannot tell you what team it was that he loved the most. We watched the German team with him.
I'm telling you, it's got to be. He was obsessed with Germany, man.
But he went through it, and it all really hit us, specifically us and the group at the time, which
the homies.
We went to get our first wrestling ring.
Oh man, that was a hell of a
And it was right after we heard that he had got... So his actual parents came here, picked him up, and he made sure to stall long enough for me to get off work and get to the house to say goodbye. And he said, "Do not worry, I'll be back. I'm going to beat this." Those were the last words I heard from John. He drove back home to Pennsylvania where his parents were living. They were going to see if any doctors could help him out there that our doctors here couldn't do. And I woke up, and that's when I woke up one morning, and I could overhear, because my mom's room was right next to mine, that his father had called her and gave the news that he passed away in his sleep. And I didn't let her know that I knew. She was already going to have a hard time trying to tell me. I went to work. I went to school. I was the one who got a hold of Chris because I could not tell Christian, have him not know. I found out. I was letting him know as soon as I could. And we were both distraught because... Yeah,
I just drove straight to your house because you left me a voicemail because my phone...
Yep, your phone
was on airplane mode because I was in school. And this was my senior year.
Right after, you came over and we just lost it.
I remember driving to your house too. I don't remember much from that entire drive. I just remember the girl I was dating at the time was sitting in the passenger seat, and she asked me something, and I just looked at her, and I didn't answer whatever the hell she asked me, and I looked back at the road, and she told her mom later that night, I could overhear them talking. She told her mom that it was the first time she ever saw death in my eyes, in a human being's eyes, and because it was my first real death. My grandpa died, I was 9 turning 10, so I couldn't really it didn't, I don't know, I just, my grandma did the whole he went to be with God thing, and it just kind of made sense, I guess. But with John, it was the first time I was oh, fuck.
I relate.
Can we cuss in this? Okay.
I relate because my first deaths I've had to deal with in my family was like my uncle. I was real young. I mainly I did still cry, but it was like I gotta be the man of the house kind of thing. I was the only guy in the house with my 2 sisters and my mom. But when John passed, I was laying there and I didn't cry that morning. When I first heard it, I was in shock. Yeah. And I just went numb. I told you I was numb, and then when you got to the house, that's when we both broke.
Yeah.
And we lost it in thinking about him. And then there was, of course, there was a memorial service held by a lot of people he went to church with.
I remember when
all our roster had basically showed up.
When I was in your room that day, too, we literally didn't say anything.
No.
We just cried. And then I remember, after some really long fucking time had passed because we were holding each other on your bed, I got up and kind of, did the thing where I put my ass against the desk with, my hands. And I remember crying some more, blowing my nose, and then I think I told you I'd come back in a little bit, and you told me to drive safe and that you loved me, and we hugged each other. And that was literally all we said to each other. I was there. When I got there, the sun was up.
You got there, we literally hugged.
The sun was up because it was 3:30 in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went out to my car, it was the sun was setting. So we were there
for at least
some fucking time.
A few hours.
Not a word said, basically.
And
that's some deep shit that we've never told anybody.
And that's when, and a week, that same weekend was when we got that ring. Later. 2 days later, we went and got our first ring from Kentucky.
Yep.
With Godfather, at the time Azrael Knight.
Yep.
TJ Adams, VDP,
Jay Gold.
And Jay Gold. And we got the ring with him and got back and had our first official John
my god, that show was dope. Titus Monroe and
Luke Lassiter.
Yeah, Luke Lassiter did come up. That first one came up. And that was the first John Holt Yo show. It was called Best in the Backyard / John Holt Yo. And then it was the first show we ever had actual out-of-towners come out of roster. So it was our in a backyard
from a whole other state.
From a different state.
Yeah.
And that theme kept up and has kept up and has kept up, and it's fucking awesome, dude.
And the crazy thing is, what you were talking about, Lucas, I remember the memorial service because I was there.
Yep.
And I remember hearing you guys say, we are going to create I couldn't remember if it was a belt or something.
I think we were
going to make something in his memory.
I think we were going to do a tournament thing and make a trophy.
Yeah, we were going to try to make something that was specifically named after him, but it wasn't even going to be an event. It was going to be a specific item.
Yeah.
Representing, and we just never.
I can't remember.
I think we just got to John Holt Yo and made the event, and then we just said this is better than a trophy. This is better than.
That's right. Yeah.
Title. This is better than a medal.
I think that's what we were going to do. I think we were going to have a championship now that because every time I hear the word belt,
I remember we talked, we did want to do a belt because we said we were going to put thumbs up because he always did the thumbs up in a picture.
Yeah.
We were going to have a big John Holt have a silhouette on there.
That's what it was, because
2 thumbs up for side plates.
I can't remember who it was. One of our friends was a really good artist at the time, and we thought they could design it. Yeah, no, so that's what it was going to be. It was going to be a championship. But of course, back then we
were still broke kids who couldn't afford to find a good belt maker.
Mm.
And so we were going to make a championship, but then we came up with the concept of the show.
Yeah.
What is going on, CHWA Nation? This is ring announcer Dilly here. Just wanted to come in and talk to you guys real quick with a little commercial. Wanted to talk to you guys about our Patreon, patreon.com/CHWA. That is where you get the pay-per-views. So, not obviously the weeklies here on YouTube. You guys see that every single Thursday, the Thursday Night Throwdown. But at the end of the month on patreon.com/CHWA, that is where the pay-per-views go. So you will be seeing all the pay-per-views there. You are also included to a couple not behind the scenes, a little early access stuff, early fight cards before each pay-per-view. As well as a couple other things, but still kind of working on exactly what that is. But yes, patreon.com/CHWA. Go check that out. Go check out our Patreon. Thank you guys all so much for your continued support. We'll get back to the action. See you guys next week. So, now that we've kind of talked about who John was and what he meant to you guys, let's talk about John Holt Yo, the show. Yeah. Obviously, you guys talked about how like it maybe started out as an idea for a belt and then it kind of morphed into a show. So let's talk about the shows. What is John Holt Yo, the show? What's it all about?
It's about everyone.
I think
it's about everyone.
The easiest way to sum it up is John Holt Yo was originally made as a memorial, obviously, to himself from all of us original CHWA people. Whoever was there and had at least seen him knew him at the time. Now we're at that period, well, how many people knew of him or how he looked? And I'm one of those guys who can say, you want to know what he looked like? I've looked at photos a million times now. Ever since you shaved your head when you had long hair, I found pictures of him. Spitting image. I could send them to you, and you will see him with a guitar, see him with a guitar. Same person. I could swear in different lives. But at the same time, they exist at the same time, so it's crazy.
It looks like I'm like a reskinned version of him.
It looks like you literally were, if you had to do a film about him and he was the actor, he would be young him. You literally could have been young him. You look spitting image of him.
That's the best way of putting it. I don't look identical to him. I look enough like him.
I've shown a picture of you and him from different time zones to your lady right now. You're the woman carrying your child, and she's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And this
I
became
take that as a massive compliment too,
and it shows why we know why he was calling you Mini. You was Mini him was because I looked at him like, oh, he was not kidding. But it started off as we wanted to give something to him after all the stuff he's given to us, and now John Holt Yo, the show, is not just like it's kept as him because he was the originator. He is where CHWA literally formed. He was. I'm not going to use the term, say God, but he was literally the man who, if we were the company and we were made, this was Clay and that was the company, he's the one who molded it.
He's the creator, man.
So when it comes down to it, we keep his name there, but it's the big thing I like to look at is now, at least now, because it's been 9 of them now coming up.
Would have been 10 had it not been for the cough.
If it wasn't for, that lovely time in 2020.
I don't know if we can say that word.
No, you can.
Pandemic, suck it.
Yeah, dude, that sucked.
But if it weren't for that, we would be on the decade. And to know that it's now going to be the 9th one, it's very heavy in my mind as the memorial. We personally will wrestle for him every time. We will wrestle, though, also for anyone we've lost.
Oh, yeah.
Whether your Aunt Bluebell.
Oh, yeah. Aunt Bluebell, Cody Pope. I miss that guy a whole lot.
I will. There's grandpa. Both my grandparents.
Yes, sir.
My uncles, my great uncles, every single person. It's a place for anyone who's in that ring, whether you are everyone. A referee, a wrestler, a announcer, a commentator. If you want to if you want to put all your energy out for that person that you miss and you can't get back, this is the place. If you are a fan and you want to scream to the heaven, every time I preach this every show, every year, I say, I want everyone to scream so loud that everyone we've lost in the heavens can hear you.
You do say that every year.
Every year. It is my big...
That's why I always start fucking crying in your speech.
And it's just because if there was a time to really put it all out there, and you, Dilly, you've seen it from me, and Chris, you've seen it from me, and I've seen it from you. That's the show I put everything on the line. I could care less about what's wrong with if my body gets destroyed.
I always get hospitalized after John Holt Yo. Let's just call it out as every John.
You always put yourself into where you're barely walking at least.
Yeah, I think I've made it through 1 or 2 John Holt shows where I don't go get checked either for a concussion or something seriously wrong with my knees.
Most of those were the earliest ones where you devote.
And it's just because I was in all the crazy ladder matches and I would do all the crazy spots because I thought, oh, this is the show to get hurt. It's John Holt Yo. Now it's like I just exhaust myself because I already turned my volume up to 10 when I wrestle, but for John Holt Yo it goes to 20. So when I'm done wrestling and I collapse and stuff, it's not like, people think, oh, it's so fake. No, dude, I'm laying there legitimately can't breathe. My body doesn't want to move because I've just given everything that I physically have to this show, and I don't know how I'm going to do it again tomorrow. And that's the best part, because then that second day, you got to go even harder.
Yeah.
And you're sore, and you're tired, and it just, like, as crazy as it sounds, like, it's so amazing, because all that pain that you feel physically, is from getting it out, and at the end of this day, you're gonna be, like, exercised, like, you're gonna be, like, cleansed. You're gonna feel so much. While you're feeling all this physical pain, you're going to have so much of a mental and spiritual just reset and release, because you've taken all that negative, horrible trauma, depression, anxiety, whatever, from all of the losses you've taken, and you've physically expunged it out. And it's just a beautiful fucking thing to me. I don't mean to get all spiritual, but
no,
in my
man,
mind, man, it's
factual. Like,
that's how I wrestle.
It's like, what is John Holt Yo the show? It's a memorial.
Yes.
It is therapy.
Dude, it's church.
It is, like you said, it's a release. It's taking every single drop of stress that you've had built up in that last year, and just, if you're a fan, you're screaming it out. If you're a wrestler, you're literally beating it out.
When
if
I was
you're
commentating,
a referee,
I
you're
lost
throwing
my
it.
voice that weekend commentating with Pops. So I was screaming into the mic the whole time. I was just in it, dude. I was in it and just getting it all because I wasn't going to be able to wrestle that year. It was the year of my lung.
Oh, yeah, that's right. This is not your first year.
I wrestled Iorio that year, though.
Did you?
You did.
I managed
even with your lung?
Even with the
to get
lung,
an unsanctioned match
found...
that night.
Oh, that's right.
It was very
this year
terrifying.
Is not happening. I'm not doing it.
Don't. If you try, I'm sorry, I'm dragging you out of there.
Well, you got to think of the time frame of like the recovery from the lung surgery.
Yeah, the lung was a little
John
earlier.
Holt. I had some time.
You had 3-4 months
to where like everyone could see me training. Yeah, there's no way.
Barely.
I can't even.
You
lift
barely
25
have a
pounds
month.
in a month.
Yeah, so
I'm not doing nothing. I would like to walk you to the ring, but then I'm gonna turn my happy ass around and walk right back.
I'm gonna be walking out with you, and I'm just gonna. I see it now. I'll stand on that in that ring like. Get the fuck back. Get to the back. I don't want you near here. I'll turn around and I'm going to see a puff of smoke and your happy ass is going to be waddling.
Oh, yeah. See, the moment I see you getting in the ring, I'm going to start walking. So when you do your cool backflip and land in the post, turn around and yell at me.
I'm going to see you already at the fucking
joke's on
entrance.
you because I'm not there, so now you're distracted. Now you're going to be like, fuck, why do I let him walk?
So you're going to be the reason I get screwed over mentally and I lose my match.
No, you're going to win. It's John Holt Yo, dude. We don't lose at John Holt, bro.
Say that about last year.
Shut up. Shut up. We don't talk about
We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about last year. No,
we don't talk about last year at all.
We nearly John Holt, do we?
No, we don't. No, we don't.
Because if we don't do better this year, she will murder us.
Oh, yeah, no.
I can't
She was not happy.
We cannot.
So I have to represent both of us.
Yeah.
So if I screw up now, it's double death on me.
Oh, yeah.
All she's got to do is, like, poke me in the stomach.
She has to just flick you and you're done.
Out of curiosity, previous shows, Back in the Backyard, or Back to the Backyard / John Holt, was it always 2 nights? Was it 1 night? When did things switch to the 2 nights?
Always 2 nights.
It's always been 2 nights. I think the one at Mystical Journeys in 2019
was the only time we had
the only time we did. But if you remember, what we did was we had 2 shows.
Yeah, we split it in one big day, early show, and split it into 2 shows.
Show 1 started at like 2 in the afternoon. Show 2, it was 2018.
Yeah, because 2019 you were at the Columbus, Knights of Columbus,
the Masonic Lodge.
The Masonic Lodge.
And that's where you became the ring announcer.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so it was always a 2-night.
We always try to do 2 shows.
But Marianne and
that was the only
Mystical
way we could do it
have us there that second night.
Because their Sundays were when the Souls closed.
Well, no, there was an event that Sunday.
They had an event happening the same weekend.
Because we also had to like move the ring and everything out of there.
Completely out of the building.
Which we only had to do like twice a year. So it just happened to fall on John Holt Yo. So we split it. On camera, though, it was 2 days.
Yeah.
Because we posted the fucking first one, and then we posted the second one. But in reality, it was one day. But it's always been a 2-day event.
Literally, first show, we brought that ring back. We had 2 days when we had Titus.
Yep.
And Luke Lassiter.
I think in John Holt Yo,
because on one of the days they had Reckoning.
One day was at the building, and then one day was at like the tennis courts. It was like 2 different locations. I think that year, yeah, because I don't remember who got the tennis courts booked for us. I think it might have been P.T. Beckham.
It might have been.
But he got it where like we could. Yeah, it was PT.
PT helped us get a lot of places at the time.
2016, dude, he was killing it. And he helped us get that tennis court, but they wouldn't let us have it for 2 days. So we were like, oh, we'll do John Holt Yo night 1 at West MacArthur, and we'll do John Holt Yo night 2 at the tennis courts at Gordon Moore. And that's what we. So that's the only John Holt Yo I think that's had like 2 different venues
the same
which
year,
is kind of a cool thing.
So we had one which was 2 shows that were recorded in the same day.
Yep.
One that was 2 days but 2 different places, and basically every other one was same place.
Yeah.
If we had it was the same place for the 2 days.
Now this is going to be so obviously there's been 2 days. Has there ever been a Friday Saturday show?
Yeah, that was the 2016
the first one.
2016, where we did at the building day 1 and then day 2, because at WOE was running that Sunday.
Yep, that was the only one I think we had.
See, I don't remember why I remember stupid shit like this, but it's just like my brain just files little things like that away. But yeah,
it's better that one of us has it.
So yeah, 2016 we definitely did Friday, Saturday, and I think the first one,
I think we got it and came back and built it on Friday.
That's
so
right.
we think about it because we all started fucking around in the ring immediately.
Dude,
we're like, our first ring!
I remember I did a moonsault that day off the top rope, and I remember like landing on the mat, and I was like, okay, I'm never, ever, ever letting anybody roll out of the way of that, because I crushed my nuts.
So the crazy thing is, like you were saying, Christian, like you've got nuggets of stored information of like, I don't know how you remember anything like that.
Yeah.
Me, I remember announcing the first 30 seconds of my debut, and that is the only thing I remember about John Holt.
I don't remember
any part of that night.
Went away after those 30 seconds.
Yeah, the first 30 seconds, I blew out my voice on my debut. I don't remember anything of that. I only remember one other thing.
The main event that night was me and Rick.
Okay.
And then the next night it was me and PT Beckham. I had a hardcore match both nights.
Oh wait, hold on. I remember the PT Beckham match because at the end
Jake
of
Gold
it,
and Drew Carter like beat the fuck out of each other.
Yep. At the end of your match with PT Beckham, the lights went out, came back, and he had the mask because he was going to be doing the was it Machiavelli?
Machiavelli.
Yeah.
He was going to do the Machiavelli stuff.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yep, I remember this.
Maddie wrestled.
I remember
Riley
you guys
Knox.
Pulled an HBK moment. HBK Ric Flair, I'm sorry, I love you, and then the big hit.
Yeah, see, I remember.
Yep.
I remember Riley being there because
Maddie also wrestled, I think, Emma Yuri that night. Was it? Not that night, but at John Holt Yo that year. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, because they were. Yeah, Emma Yuri had turned on her.
Yeah, they had turned because they were part of the Killer Queen Club.
I think. I think. I'm trying to remember who the tag champions were at that time.
Wasn't it Crow and Kirk?
Yeah, Crow and Kirk wrestled against. I don't remember. Man, that's been forever.
It was forever. I think that was a year I wrestled Logan.
Oh, dude, that match was good too.
Because I did a flip over or jump over the barricade onto him because he went to the outside of the barricade and I dived over the barricade wall to hit him.
Right.
Yeah.
I was heel.
Yeah.
That year I was heel.
Yeah, because like the next
come
month
out with
we
Dina.
started.
You guys had started feuding at that point. Yeah. Because that's whenever I was in. Because I remember watching those matches. So
those feuds I miss and don't at the same time.
I miss that time era. It was a really.
I don't miss being under a ladder and a bunch of chairs.
So let's talk about some of your favorite John Holt Yo matches.
Oh man,
through the years.
Let's do it.
Shit.
Yeah.
You've got a better memory of all the matches, honestly. I can say
whether it be your own personal matches at John Holt or
just
like
somebody else's
just matches in general.
I can sit here and list some matches, and I'm probably going to, but you know what? One of my favorite, it literally is the top of the top, like creme de la creme of John Holt moments. Dude, Tommy fucking Davis package pile driving
Mizogu in the tag team.
Yes, that tag ladder match.
And like a 4-way tag ladder match.
I commentated that.
Yeah.
And I will never in my entire existence forget watching Tommy pick him up and me going, there's no way that this is going to happen. And then it happened.
Yeah,
I thought what was going to happen was like, because, Mizoku's like really athletic and does like flips and shit. I thought he was going to like Rana fucking Tommy off the ladder.
Yeah.
No. No, pile dragger.
Yeah.
I remember in that same match giving basically an AA to Drew Carter on a ladder that was stacked between, because our barricades were two
you broke that man's
sections,
spine.
and the ladder did not give. He
No.
just rolled.
Oh,
off
that's
the
right. That was
ladder.
Carter that got it. I thought
Carter
it was
got flipped.
I thought it was Harlock who gave
Oh my
you
God.
something on that
Oh
ladder.
Carter,
my
he threw me
God.
on one that was slanted against a barricade.
Dude, Carter's
But I
back.
had literally flipped Carter onto one that was completely tableized
Yeah.
over two barricades
Dude, for
in
like
the middle of the
3
crowd.
weeks, for like 3 weeks, Carter had like deep internal bruising of the shape of a ladder.
Yeah.
And at practice, I chopped him and left him mark for 2 weeks, though.
Dude, but man,
That's
that
what
was brutal.
You know, that whole match was Dragon's Guild, you
Which was
and
me and
you and
Tommy.
Tommy.
The entire new foundation.
The entire new foundation because it was two
teams.
Yeah,
Because
it
it
was
was Angelo,
and
Mizoku,
Mizoku, Carter and Harlock, and then SWO Rick and Iorio.
Yeah, and Rick turned on Iorio.
And Rick turned on Iorio
That
then.
was
Yeah.
a hell of a ladder
Because
match.
it was so bad, too, because I went in seeing Iorio on the ladder, about to grab for the belts, and I came in with, like, a pan or a bamboo
You
stick,
were gonna give him
and I smacked him in the head, but at the same time he got bashed in the back by a stop sign or something by Rick, where I got completely dumbfounded.
Oh,
And
the
then
trash can, yeah.
trash can.
Iorio was going up the ladder,
And then
Rick
at the
just
same time, we
blasted
secretly,
him in the
and
back.
without purposely doing it, we sandwiched him with strikes, one to the back, one to the head, and then he got pulled off into that cutter by Rick. Another one that was a good one is from the very beginning, very first one. I took on Azrael Knight in a tables submission match.
Yep.
The way we had to win was put through a table first and then make them tap.
Yep.
He tried putting me through one table and they wouldn't count it because it didn't break on the first try. He pushed the board because it already started bending and breaking. He had me underneath it and pushed it and it broke and he's like, I did! And the ref was Lazera at the time. And they were like, it didn't break underneath him. You pushed it over him and broke it. Like, that's not counting as a break. And then I put him through the first and only flaming table we ever did.
Yep.
And I made him tap with an Anaconda Vice on the outside of the ring.
I remember that. I've had so many matches at John Holt Yo that are just like ridiculous that I can't really ever think of my favorite one, but the one that always stands out to me where I go, you know what, that might just be the one was, do you remember, like, years and years ago, when I got locked into this, like, really, like, bizarre circumstance outside of wrestling, and, like, I wasn't really focused on wrestling as much, but John Holt was coming up, and I was like, oh my god, dude, I gotta
bring it up. I gotta get in the mood.
And so I remember
go into game mode.
I remember like the person who was like booking the matches at the time calling me, and they were like, "Hey, what do you want to do at John Holt Yo?" And I remember going, "What's Drew Carter doing?" And Drew Carter at the time was not even wrestling because he was inactive. I can't remember why.
It might have been when that weird in the knee was getting healed still.
And so they were like, "Yeah, we don't know if he'll wrestle you or not." So I came to John Holt Yo not knowing if he was going to show up. He just like walks through the door looking just like Drew Carter, and he's like, "Hey man, let's wrestle." And I'm like, "Cool." And we went out. We had nothing planned, and dude, I remember like I asked him. The only thing I asked him was like, "Do you want to work snug?" Like, and he was like, "Yeah, just hit me." And I remember that was the first time I worked like a strong
Famous
style.
last words.
We worked like a really strong style. Like we beat the piss out of each other. That one stands out in my mind. And then selfishly, like the first one ever, the main event of John Holt 1 was me and Titus in a 60-minute Iron Man match.
The table spot where we had to hold the sawhorses to make sure that they didn't, because once they're collapsing.
I did the frog splash.
And you frog splash through the table, and I remember specifically there was a picture where you're in midair. Dude is in like yellow boxers or something for gear, and we're holding those, and I'm like right there, like, move! He's coming!
Yeah, that match.
Like, I'm trying to think of all the matches, but there's just been so many matches over the years. It's like, was that at John Holt? Was that at a different event?
If I had to pick one match that was my overall favorite of all time match for me, and it doesn't even include me, was 1,000% the Girls' Fatal 4-Way.
Oh yeah,
I think that was
main
a
event of
really
night
cool.
one.
The first ever main event, which was when
I
was it
commentated
7?
that match.
Was it 7?
that was at. Let's see, this is 9.
Because
That was
no,
7.
it was 7 because
It was a
8
7.
was whenever you two wrestled, and lost.
Yep,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So check it.
The loss
so
that we nearly got murdered for.
Mm-hmm.
I commentated.
Cannot let that
match.
happen again. Cannot let it happen again.
I commentated that match,
Let's train
and those girls. I remember like passing by Ashlyn and Maddie in the hallway, like the little hallway, like the
that wing
between
to
the
the two.
office and the and I remember hearing Madison go, "You better fucking hit me, because I'm gonna fucking hit you." And all I remember is I was walking past that scene because I was dating Madison at the time. Was this is gonna probably be a match I watch forever, and whether me and Madison stay together or not, I will probably always say that Madison's my favorite female wrestler now because I heard her say, "You better fucking hit me because I'm gonna fucking hit you." That was cool.
Yeah.
You know, because Madison's also the smallest female wrestler.
Yeah.
So
she is like an embodiment of Mighty Mouse.
I commentated this match, and I
in a
watched.
selfie way.
Yeah.
I watched these 4 women hit each other harder than any man I've ever seen, like in CHWA for the most part. There's been a few exceptions, but not very many. I watched them not only take this abuse, but I watched them with zero give a fuck dish it out. And the best part for me as a wrestler and as a fan of wrestling, Ashlyn, the big bad unstoppable badass, won the match.
Yeah, mega heel at the time. Mega heel at the time.
And they all got a fucking standing ovation. You know why? Because it didn't matter if there was psychology or who the fuck was wearing ring wrestling boots and all that bullshit that they got tore apart for. The 200 or 300 people that were slammed in that fucking sardine can watched 4 women wrestle and fucking fight. And leave it all out on that fucking mat and all the mats on the floor. Because all of them were bleeding, all of them were covered. Yeah, all of them were covered. Black and blue fucking bruises, black and purple fucking bruises. All of them took tongue lashings from vets and fucking legends and shit about the match with stride. And here, you know, fast forward, you go watch the match right now, it's still fucking awesome.
I remember watching that match, and I remember specifically when they all started fighting with the kendo sticks.
Oh my god!
And I remember
it felt
watching
like you were
them.
watching a live action Star Wars reenactment.
Yeah, no, because
and then just like, instead of you're hearing smacking, clacking,
because
wood bashing, and
you're watching 4 women not hold back on their swings. They are swinging like they are hitting major league home runs on every single one of them.
And that's how they had to be, man. That's how they had to be because they wanted it.
That was the same year I broke my walking stick that I came out with over Harlock's back.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I will say this too. There was a John Holt Yo where me and Lucas wrestled each other. It was a fantasy night thing.
Yep.
That will always be my favorite John Holt match of my own, though, because
I just know
it was really emotional.
Those were cool, and it was a really fun time because of us being who we are and what John Holt is to us. But I won't lie, I wait for the day where it is not a fantasy night anymore and you and I have a match against each other.
Yeah.
Because that, I know, isn't just 2 brothers doing it for the emotional connection to our brother who we've lost. I want it to be like when we fully feel like that moment when we're like, this is a story that's been built up to for the year, time to really go all out. And because when it was fantasy night, you couldn't fully make yourself go all out.
Right.
Because in a way, if you do... First of all, you got to go even more all out, like on day 2, like you said.
The next day
but
for the championship.
It's also because since it's fantasy night is just a night for the fans to see a match they never get to see right now. I want it to be like there's a story, there's a reason, there is a build up.
Yeah,
because then you and I will have like that will be a night where there's a match that nobody will.
And I never want to do it where like it's a forced idea thing. I want it to naturally just happen. Like I want it to like naturally like we be in a position where we go, hey. This thing's been going on for like a month or 2, like maybe we could do something here and that could lead us to here. Like I want it to just flow out naturally because like if we just like, oh, next year's John Holt 10, let's try to, it's going to be fucking forced.
Right.
It's going to, of course they're fighting a John Holt 10. Like fucking, I want it to be like natural, and I don't care if it takes till John Holt 25, because we'll still be there.
We'll be dumb.
We'll be there at 25.
We'll be those dumb ones.
But
we're gonna be the ones that are gonna see.
I'm gonna die in the ring.
What's the other letters?
I told Isabella, the mother of my children, to prepare for me to die in the ring, because that's probably what's gonna happen to me. I'd rather die that way than fucking die in like a bullshit
We're gonna be
way.
the ones going, I'm going for a Swanton. I'm a hip. What was this place again? CHMV.
Yeah,
I mean
MV.
WA.
MV.
I'm ready to get upside down. Stop giving me shit.
And it's like, man, like John Holt Yo, the fucking event is just. I know that there will be 25 of them. I don't think it'll ever stop. Like, because like as long as the company's around, like, even if me and you aren't there, I feel like the company would just know.
I think even if the company wasn't running monthly or weekly shows, I think there would still be an argument of, hey, it's September. What are we doing for John Holt?
Yeah, I've even said
Even if
before
there
in the
isn't
past,
able to,
like,
if
we
there
should
was a
do it.
day that for some reason the company didn't last, and
Which, as long as me and you are still alive, that probably won't.
I know, but this is a hypothetical.
Mm-hmm.
If this company for some reason, like whether it was fun, we just could not financially keep doing it, or like keep getting buildings,
True.
we couldn't find a location, or a bunch of our roster gets big and too hard to like, and they get full of, and some of them get full of themselves and make their booking fees ridiculously high, or something where it's just me and him or something. It's going to be like, well, if we're not doing a wrestling thing, I want us to. We'd be the one finding some big way to celebrate John Holt.
I would just put the ring up in my front yard and just have you come over, and we'd just tell all our family and friends me and Lucas are going to have a match for John Holt every year.
Well,
60 million Iron
60
Man.
million.
Next year, you know what we do?
Hour and a half.
Hey guys, we jump up, but you know how one time he was 27, I was 28. About to turn 29 because, you know, I'm right after September. Well, let's just say that now he's 37 and I'm about to be 49 and we're doing a 5-hour long match. Let's go!
Goddamn right. 5 hours this time.
5 hours, and each hour has a new theme. And this year it's Halloween, so welcome. It's Friday the Nightmare on Elm Street match.
Shit.
Friday the 13th
I'll
match.
just start switching killers halfway through.
They did Texas Chainsaw Massacre on AEW. We can do it.
Yeah, and we could probably do it better.
Saw match.
I got that one.
It match.
You know what, dude, the other thing...
Fun fact is nothing other than we're going it. Put you in a hold. It.
Dude, the thing is, too, like, I've even said before in the past, like, if something were to happen to the company and, like, we weren't doing anything, like, I would make it a point every September to hold an event, even if it wasn't under the CHWA umbrella or, like, Bannister or whatever, and I would make it some kind of John Holt Yo event, because who's going to tell me and you that we couldn't do something like that, right?
Right.
So.
Let's talk about the two recent John Holts.
Yeah,
Let's go John Holt Yo 7 and John Holt Yo 8, because
two of the best.
In my opinion, not that it's the best John Holt's, because obviously I've not seen the previous 6,
Right.
but I've been a part of 7 and 8.
They definitely got better
very deeply,
each year.
and like.
Yeah. 1,000%.
And I think that's kind of why we've kind of gotten into this current era of CHWA, is if you look at John Holt Yo 7 and then John Holt Yo 8, you look at it and go, wow, this company
It's different.
is so much different. And I think that's what makes John Holt Yo so special now, is because, you know, the past 3 years have been a complete shift in the company. And John Holt Yo specifically has kind of been the catalyst for each of those changes, because that's when everything kind of kicks off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have the women.
End of
always
season,
like
start of
switch.
season kind of
Yeah,
thing.
it's like I hate to say it's like our NFL, or not NFL, but like I always feel like we build from January to like John Holt, and then it's like from November to January, like not November. I'm sorry, October to January. It's like it's 2 different seasons. It's like from October to January, like it's going to be really good shows, really fun, but it's very like holiday themed. And
yeah, it's definitely like the Halloweens. And
yeah,
we kind of make a Thanksgiving fun theme for our big event. Then we do a Christmas event. So it's like we do those, but then it gets back to January where that's where your
and then like the
New
Rumble.
Beginnings Rumble is, and it leads straight back all the way
from the Rumble. The winner of the Rumble, is going to wrestle the guy at May Day, and then from May Day to John Holt Yo. Like it seems like it's
like right now we have Crow won.
Yep, Crow won the Rumble,
and
the only reason he didn't get to wrestle for the thing at May Day is because like we've switched from the weekly.
We had
to
different
the
locations and all that stuff.
So like, why not just let him have it at the biggest show of the year since we're not doing like the weekly shows in the same places?
So he has like gotten that real kind of interesting way to be a build up now because he won in January, and now he's getting to like really like build himself all the way through versus having to immediately defend it or anything against anyone.
He's definitely somebody who I perceive as a threat in the future, especially when I'm clear. Because like he's
that he has a drive that you don't see a lot of people, and it's why he gets good.
He's really good, and not only is he good, but like he's really precise with a lot of the shit he does, and it's a precision that you can't teach. And it's like one of those things where I look at him, I go, okay, dude's 20, 21, and like I'm 27, and in like 5 years he's gonna be like 26, and he's gonna be mentally where like me and you are kind of at now. And yeah, we might have the psychology edge, but how good is that precision of his gonna be then? Because that's that little shit that stands out. He's really good, dude. I've been saying Crow's good for a really long time though.
What is going on, CHWA Nation? This is ring announcer Dilly here. Wanted to come to you guys with a little bit of an announcement. So something that we've been kind of working on behind the scenes and getting ready for you guys, because we have been getting people asking, where can we get things like this? CHWA shirt. CHWA, and on the back it says For Life. A lot of people always ask, they want a shirt, but they can never really get it at our shows. We just haven't had the proper run to get that all taken care of. But that all changes today. As of today, and has been for a couple weeks to our Facebook people, we officially have a merch store. CHWA has a merch store, and you can get stickers, t-shirts, and a few other items, all on it in different colors depending on what you're looking for. And if you can't find the color that you want, make sure that you comment down below in the video or what have you. Reach out to us and tell us, hey, we want, say a CHWA with the For Life in, blue. If you want a different color or shirt or something, just let us know. Figure out a way to get a hold of us. The easiest way to do that. If you go to chwashop.com, I'm going to put the link in the description down below so you guys can have an instant link. But yeah, so we have a merch shop, and it's live. Good stuff on there. You can get a shirt kind of like this classic CHWA logo with the classic For Life on the back, but then you can also get our new logo on a wide variety of colors. The CHWA with the H being in the gradient rainbow. Go check out chwashop.com. Get you some merch. Anything that you do helps support us, and we appreciate you guys greatly. So until next time, we will see you all on the next one. This is ring announcer Dilly, and I am out. Talk a little bit more about like these flips in the company. So obviously, John Holt Yo 7, you have the girls' day,
first ever women's
main event of John Holt in night 1. You've got the ladder match between 4 tag teams for the tag straps, fresh off of your lung collapse.
Yep. I wrestled Oreo.
You wrestled Oreo.
Like for me not being able to lure you in.
7 is, I believe, Damien and
PT for an hour.
PT for an hour.
That match was incredible.
It was the year John John Boy and Parasite had like a weird
Yeah,
Of
three
the
Parasite
three
stages.
stages of
match.
hell.
Parasite match. But
Oh no, it was the Parasite.
Yeah.
Was it the Parasite match or was it 3 stages of hell?
It was 3 stages, but that's what was
one
one of the
of them was
matches
the
was a
Parasite
Parasite
match.
match.
That's right. That's
There was
right.
a
Yeah.
Parasite, one hardcore with barbed wire was involved, and like,
and then
Voodoo King
Voodoo
got
King,
involved.
yeah.
It was a
and
triple
yeah, so
threat
it was a
match.
weird, crazy.
Yeah.
Not for the faint of heart for some people to
No,
watch.
no.
It was
Definitely
like
not.
there was a
Didn't-
literal knife.
Am I
pull out.
remembering something wrong here? Did Angelo wrestle Carter in a death match?
That's the next year.
I think that was the
That's
next
right,
year.
that's
That
it.
Or
was
no, that's in that's like Rungs of Glory. The
That's
next
right.
year.
That's right. I'm just remembering the outside because I remember
Yeah.
like
No.
he had weapons outside
No.
the ring and stuff.
Yeah, and the light tubes. Yeah, no, that was in like May or July of the next year.
What was another one? Like, what was another match from 7 that really stood out? Because I know, like, that was a star-studded.
I mean,
Oh.
7 was the year that Dion.
No, that's 8.
No, that was
eight.
8. 8 was,
Was-
when Dion and Zulu both debuted.
No, you couldn't wrestle.
Man, it was like such a good because I commentated it.
Mhm.
I commentated it.
I think it was
Didn't PT?
no PT and Damien were that year because that was the year that Izzy passed away.
But wasn't there another match that PT wrestled that weekend that was like really like that stood out? I thought. Maybe I'm remembering wrong.
I don't remember.
Maybe Blackwell had a
Didn't
match.
Angelo and
I
Crow
think
have a match?
no. I think Crow and Blackwell had a match and they broke the ring.
That's right. That's right. I do remember
One of the
that
boards
now.
or
yeah.
something.
Was that
No,
night
yeah.
1?
That was night 1. Yeah, because Crow did the whole kidnapping Halo thing, and
No, this was in the small ring. I can't remember
Man,
which.
I
It's
don't
hard to
remember.
think
Yeah.
to like more than those big matches.
see,
Yeah.
I can remember like
there's
last
like
year.
you can just picture like I just can remember spots that happen.
Right, exactly.
But it's like-
Oh, I remember what it was. I think in the John Holt Yo Battle Royal, the first thing that happened.
Oh my God! Hold on,
was-
Margaret
Margaret
beat fucking
came in and
Ashlyn for
beat
the belt.
Ashlyn for
Yeah, in
the
night
title.
two.
in
In night
like 2
2.
minutes.
Yeah.
In like 2 fucking minutes, Ashlyn was literally like undefeated for like a year.
Wait, didn't also Crow beat Waylon? Or no, that's the next year.
I know I can't remember if
Well,
this was a John
Crow.
Holt, but I know
Yeah.
there was a match where Angelo and Crow went bloody.
That's 8.
Was that 8?
It's 8 night
Oh.
1.
Yep.
No, the Battle Royal, PT Beckham threw out Sean Valiant
Yes.
in 2 seconds.
2 seconds.
He got
record
in the
time.
ring and then was immediately tossed out.
Yeah, it was record time. PT was running the ropes,
Yeah,
doing
for a
cardio.
minute.
Oh
was
yeah,
so
I remember
funny.
that year.
Dude, that was so funny. That was so funny. I'll never forget. Just bypassed him. There he goes.
Yeah, and the crazy thing
Oh
is
my
the
God.
next person was Umbra.
Was it?
Yeah, because they were in a united force,
Dion
yeah.
Brown.
and they wouldn't wrestle each other.
Yeah, that's right.
That was when we were all in that same. Like,
Yeah, because the
stable.
Butcher won that match, right?
No.
Yeah, the Butcher attacked Chaos
Because in
Jester at
8,
30.
PT won.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Because in 8, PT eliminated me and Tommy as the last 2 people
Yep.
with him
So the
at the
Butcher
same
won.
time.
Yeah,
Damn, that was a good match.
yeah.
A lot of star-studded people in that
Yeah.
match too. People making their debut and shit that are like champions right now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. Let's talk about 8.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Because 8, I think 7 had better matches, but I think 8 was bigger than 7 because of
I don't know.
the debuts
I
that
don't know.
happened in
that
CHW.
women's
Like we said,
standing
there
O
was
pretty impactful. That's why I
Dion
always
and
think
Zulu
sevens.
both debuted
Yep,
Yeah,
night
it's
1.
against both of us.
That's true.
in
and
different
we had-
matches.
I had a really great.
There
match
was
with
that
Dion.
bloody match between Crow and Angelo.
That
Yeah.
was disgusting.
I
That's
mean,
main
he
event.
had Angelo hanging off the back of like
Wasn't
the
that
bed
the
of
main
a
event
truck.
of night 1?
Yeah, main event of night 1 because that's where Angelo Christ came from.
Yep. Angelo
Yep.
Christ.
Because he was hanging off the back of that truck in a full Nelson
We wrestled Satisfaction.
and lost the belts.
We had a great match with him too. I thought that whole match was actually pretty good. I like
No,
the
wait.
fact they like.
No, you didn't. You won, and they used because you wrestled for the MMWA tag straps. Didn't you?
No, we lost
No,
the.
the belts weren't on the line because we had determined they. Since one of them didn't have their Missouri license, they couldn't compete for Missouri titles. And
so
then they low
blowed us, beat us, and then took said
And then
titles and smashed us both in the heads.
Yeah,
which
I
took
knew they had smashed
me
you
out
both
for
with
a
the
while.
belts.
Yeah, it gave him like whiplash in his neck because of the way he landed on the floor. And then that next month in October, that's when I started wrestling with Dougie Best. But yeah, 8 was super, super good. We had that great match with the girls. And then, man, I remember, didn't the Posthumans have like a big night that night? Yeah, they won the tag belts, right?
Won the tag belts.
Dude, that was the loudest moment I've ever heard.
In a tournament, because if you remember, they wrestled in the beginning as Esau Crane and the Private Tyler Blake.
Porter.
Or
Blake.
And then they came out at the end of the night for the final match as, Parasite and Mizoku.
Dude, and I remember I was like at the curtain, like in Gorilla, when they won. And I remember the crowd was so loud I turned and looked at like whoever was sitting next to me, and I was like, yo, bro. That's all I could think in my head. Was like, these kids are so money, and like if they just market themselves, and look what they're doing right now, dude. Like dude, I'm so proud of them.
They're officially in NWA now.
Especially Parasite.
Just worked him last month.
That dude has put in the fucking work, dude. I don't know if this will make the video, but shout out to that guy because he's put in the fucking work.
What are some other 8s?
I know that who was it? Hang on, I'm having like a moment here because like.
Was Damien the champion at that point?
Or is that when he beat Beckham?
No, he beat Beckham in 7. I think he beat Beckham for the championship.
Carter was the champion.
Carter was the champ, yeah. And
who did he wrestle at here? I remember Carter winning a ladder match, actually. Was it John Boy and Harlock?
Yes, it was a triple threat.
Yep, because, yeah. Dude, that match was a banger, and I remember when Carter unhooked the belt, I was sitting in Gorilla again, because I like being in Gorilla during shows to, like, watch the monitor and shit. And I remember the crowd just feeling like they were so upset that Carter won. Because Carter, that was, like, his reign of terror. He was killing everybody, dude. Yeah. And he was, like, he would just go out and tell the crowd, he'd be like, oh, you guys like L-Ride? Cute. So I'm just going to beat him, and there's nothing you can do about it. And then he would do it. Like, oh, man, yeah, that was a good title run for him. That show was banger, dude.
I think Lightfoot defended his 1-up that night.
Yeah.
Because he'd won the United States title and turned it into the 1-up, I think, the previous month.
And wait a minute. Because did Lightfoot win the belt then?
No, that was in October.
US belt in October.
It was in October because Lightfoot won the
1-up title.
The heavyweight. Waylon won the international.
Yes.
And Angelo won the 1-up.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then that's right. Yep. Dude, what a banger.
And didn't Angelo hold the 1-up until Dion beat him for it?
No. First week of December.
Yeah, I beat him the first week of December, then Dion beat me at the Rumble.
And then Dion kept it until he lost.
Yeah, Dion had a really long... He's had the longest 1-up title.
He lost it to Ricky Rodriguez only recently, didn't he?
Yeah.
Like maybe in the last couple months.
Week or two?
Couple months ago, he lost it in week 1 of July.
Yeah, so he held it from January till July. That's a 6-month reign. That's not bad.
Yeah. He's the longest so far out of the 4 champions, if you count him.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy, dude? Like, I think am I the only champion that didn't try to cash it in?
No, all of them.
I don't think anyone's fully cashed in except
Lightfoot cashed in on Carter. Angelo lost it to you. You lost it to Dion. Dion lost it to Ricky.
So only one person
only Lightfoot has cashed in.
It was the man who made it the 1-up belt.
You know what? I kind of hope Ricky's the next guy. I feel like he could do some damage.
So, well, then let's talk about that. Let's talk about John Holt Yo 9. Some of the stuff that you might see in September.
You don't know what you're going to see this year.
I know that right now, just thinking of the talent we've had coming back.
Crazy.
House X is all here now.
Dude,
they've returned again. All 3 of them. Logan, Noah, David.
Noah's never been more dangerous than he is right now, in a good way.
Obviously, you're going to see Crow doing something for a vengeance, with you especially being... Who knows what's going to happen between now and then, because we have...
Yeah, I mean, I obviously
a month's
can't.
time, roughly.
I'm not probably going to.
You're not going to probably be able to take him on for the title, so we don't know what can happen there. But Cro's going to be there. You
and
know
honestly, we haven't even got to golf with friends yet. Like this is being filmed before that, and I still have the belt right now because I haven't been told what I'm doing with it yet. That's still to be determined, I guess.
Who knows what's going to happen with Makazi?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Oh, dude, yeah. Oh man, damn! I forgot about him until just now. Shit.
But think about this: Parasite, Makazi, House X, Crow. I'll be there.
Man, Matty Monarch,
Tommy
Warriors,
Davis,
Warriors.
maybe Warriors.
Didn't they have a match get announced? The Warriors.
The Warriors.
For John Holt,
For John Holt, that match will be coming soon, probably after this is released.
Okay,
so.
I didn't know if I couldn't remember if you announced it on Chef's show.
No, I announced I announced a singles match between Ricky Cruz and Tommy Davis.
Ricky Cruz and Tommy are going to be there, and that's a guaranteed right there.
Yeah,
and Ricky Cruz on the card. And Tommy Davis. Both those aren't two reasons to buy tickets.
And on top of that, you got to think of all the newer faces who've shown up. Maybe Eagle Eye, Sean Blaze.
Man, that's a guy to keep. Those two guys right there are two guys to definitely keep your eye on.
Jesse J.
Jesse J's so good.
IP Mason is been doing really
very
well.
Deceivingly fast is IP Mason. I learned that recently.
That's the thing.
You have Kenneth Collins is still on. He's international champ right now. He still has. Yeah, he has to probably defend it there.
Dude,
almost every belt gets defended at least once on the John Holt show.
That's true.
You got to think about the current roster that we've got since January. You know, you've got people like Junkies for Fame, Ricky Cruz,
those guys are good too.
Tommy Davis, Ashton Alexander.
We've seen one half of Agents of Chaos. We've seen one half when the other one shows up.
Yeah, Surge, AOU, Moondog, Zulu, Andrew Wilder. Like, this is a different John Holt that you don't know who you're going to see.
Yeah,
we could really see anyone pop up from the
You know what? And the scary thing is, dude, like, this is being filmed in like the start of August. So like by the time this hits the air, by the time like this, like people watch this, like, can you imagine how big John Holt's gonna be by then? Like all the surprises.
We don't know any stipulations. We don't know any.
We don't even.
We only know that there's guaranteed title matches at some point.
And
that's all we can guarantee.
That's the thing. We're on the roster, and we don't even know tons of stuff yet. So, like, imagine.
And I'm a tag team champion now with Angelo, so it's like
you're definitely going to be defending your belt.
So I'll have to defend the tag belt at some point there because that's like I said, international tag heavyweight. We have no idea what's going to happen with the heavyweight title.
One up.
We don't know what's going to happen with the one up.
That's true.
But at least 3 of those are guaranteed to have a title defense.
All of them are going to be title defenses.
My point. Every John Holt, every single
Actually,
belt has a defense.
You know what? There is another match that has been announced because it happened in weekly TV. Ricky Rodriguez will defend his one-up title against Eagle Eye.
Hey.
Ooh, that'll be cool.
Yeah, Eagle Eye is the #1 contender.
Yo, that's a good platform.
He beat Jesse J.
That's a good platform for Eagle Eye. Like, I don't know, like, what he wants to fully do, like.
Plus, you gotta think about it. Like, has Eagle Eye debuted on a main show, like, or has he only been on the weeklies?
Golf with Friends will be his official main show debut.
Dude, you know what? I don't want to put pressure on him. Because I've seen him
twice now in the TV taping.
And he's pretty good.
And he's tag teamed with Chameleon in both.
Yes, he has.
Mm-hmm.
And we have not seen Chameleon. Really Chameleon hasn't returned to a main show since.
We need to get him to one.
So who knows if he might be at John Holt?
I really think Chameleon and Eagle Eye should stay like doing some stuff together because like those guys have some chemistry that I like. The match they had, was it against House X?
No, I think they were against the Warriors.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think they were against the Warriors twice.
Watching them,
like I don't know.
Watching them,
I'd have to watch the footage back.
Watching them wrestle against the Warriors and like watching how they actually tried to cut the ring in half. That's the little stuff you can't teach in tag team wrestling, and like Chameleon's been in a tag team a couple times, and like Eagle Eye's brand new.
Pirates, Musketeers.
Yeah, so like if Chameleon can like kind of take
else.
Eagle Eye under his like his wing and like teach him some tag stuff, dude, I think they could be like the first luchador.
Animal fat guy.
They could be like the first like luchador tag team to ever win the tag titles. Because
What
like,
would they have a bird underneath?
we've never had luchadors win tag titles.
I don't think have. Chameleon, I think, is the only luchador who's like really won a title singles.
Yeah, he was the world champion.
And that was back in the backyard days.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that
it'd be
would
cool
really
if he could like build up enough to like go after like a main belt again, but half the time we can't even find the guy.
Well, I don't know. Eagle Eye could probably find him.
Mm-hmm.
Dude,
Maybe
yeah,
he
I
just
mean,
gets unlucky.
like,
I don't know.
What other like matches do you think like John Holt might have this year? Like a fantasy like match.
Like if we could fantasize maybe something.
Like,
Obviously, this is the first year where it's really no fantasy night though.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's
That'll be the first year where it's like everything's got to stay.
That is something that I was going to ask you guys. Is like this is a year that I don't know. This is the first year where there's no real fantasy night anymore. Like everything in both nights
has had a buildup of some sort.
Has had a buildup or is so important that like it's not a what match do you want to see? No, this is with potentially 40 plus wrestlers in a show. There's no opportunity.
I think
for...
there's some fantasy matches though.
I mean,
like,
some of them might have
like,
been like dream matches, but I don't think they're we're not setting them up or they're not being put together because of.
But if you
they're being put together
like,
because they had this build up that has to happen.
But if you look at like some of the matchups,
was the best place to do it.
If you look at some of the matchups in it though, it's like it's definitely names where like if you follow the scene, you would definitely want to see them wrestle. Like me personally, like Tommy and Ricky. Right, like I like that idea. Like I think that
they've wrestled a couple times now.
Yeah, but never at Schwa, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like I will say,
and that match you and Tommy
had.
This
might be
phenomenal.
biased. This might be biased as fuck. But like I really do feel like when people come to Schwa, they just for some reason they just lay it all out because like they feel like they don't have to like wear a mask. Like they can just go out and beat them. And so like the match I had with Tommy, like which was the last match before my surgery, like. I'm not trying to say like Tommy doesn't wrestle hard 24/7 because he obviously does. I don't remember a time watching Tommy wrestle that hard outside of CHWA in a while, right? But he came to CHWA and all of a sudden that fucking I can take my mask off and just be me allowed him to be him. And that's why the match was so good. Like, now imagine that same Tommy Davis
against
Ricky Cruz with no mask on.
And you gotta
holy fuck.
And you got to think also, like, that's not just like a fantasy match. That actually has a little bit to it because if you remember, Ricky wrestled Tommy in the tournament to face you.
Yeah.
And
it was
and Tommy beat Ricky.
Yeah.
Fatal four-way.
Yeah.
I was in there. Parasite was in there. Ricky and Tommy.
That was a great match. I got to watch it. I watched the whole thing because I had to see who was going to win the tournament.
Yeah. So there is a little bit of build up
somehow
to a degree with that
took
match.
on Moondog and survived.
I'm really proud. I'm really proud of this John Holt, and it hasn't even happened yet.
I would love to see for like the fantasizing kind of aspect. I would love to see someone who isn't seen
in CHWA.
I'd like to see someone who's like people know, like maybe a cool name that we've never seen, like show up. Like I'm a big fan of like St. Louis Anarchy. I'd love to see somebody maybe from Anarchy, maybe somebody who used to be the big name here and maybe has been gone. Maybe somebody who's
if I could pull some
because
strings,
a lot of Dynamo people have arrived.
That's true.
A lot of people from Dynamo have arrived. We have no clue, but there's a chance that maybe there's someone who's been in Dynamo who hasn't been here yet.
If I
shows
could pull
up,
some
or
strings, man, I'd really like to get Anakin Murphy down here sometime.
That would be an awesome match.
Anakin Murphy, I wrestled him in 0-1, and he's so good.
That is true. I forgot you wrestled him.
He honestly is one of my best matches of the year. He's just
like
he's
I'm
different.
Like because from my experience, I'm getting this close to finally getting to do a personal goal of being in Anarchy. And I can't wait to wrestle like pretty much that entire roster.
And dude, you're gonna kill it.
And hopefully I can. So I'd love to see a lot of those guys possibly. One of them show up if they were able to. But you know, wrestling's wrestling, and it's,
really cool
unless there's like a miracle, there's not likely a chance for one of them to be there.
It'd also be cool if we could get like a Dynamo person that like hasn't wrestled for Schwa yet. Then,
yeah,
like a Broadway guy.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like we've had Wilder, Zulu, but it's like we haven't had Slammer.
Haven't had Slammer. We haven't had Cayman.
Dude, Chris Slammer is like one of my favorite wrestlers.
Cayman's the last of the Brotherhood who hasn't been on the CHWA.
But may he recover as well.
Yeah.
He's been going through injury.
Yeah.
That's what I've been hearing. I'll tell you someone who I think...
Who else is a good one who hasn't...
CJ.
CJ Shine.
You know who I feel like could really make an impact at CHWA because they'd be given the freedom to do it? Garrett Shanks.
That would be connections that like people like Sadie has, and get like Deliriouses or something huge. Like that'd be amazing for a John Holt 1 year.
I agree with that statement. Can we talk about where John Holt's going to happen?
Yeah.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
I mean, that should be fine.
I think we definitely have to, because like I'm going to bring it up in my portion, but like
okay, well if you're going to bring it
year,
up, then we can just get to it when you get to it.
I was going to say this will be the first time this year that it isn't going to be in the same, like an event isn't taking place in the same building.
Yeah, no, like we've been running in the American Legion in Edwardsville for the past 8 months, basically.
The whole entire calendar year so far.
Almost. And, you know, John Holt Yo 9 will be held at the Glen Carbon Sports Academy, literally 5 minutes down the road from the American Legion.
Legendary venue for Dynamo.
Yes,
huge building.
It is a huge building for a huge event that I think this building is going to be finally big enough to hold the action that we're going to be having. But even then, I don't know if it's going to be big enough. There's so much that is planned that nobody knows about that I cannot wait for
another
people
thing
to
I would
find
love,
out.
honestly, for a John Holt event, and this has happened a couple times over the John Holts, a new stipulation that's never been done.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of stipulations. We've done ladder matches a lot.
Well,
there's been like hardcore matches. I would love to see
my hand, and I'm gonna go ahead and call my shot to the Mr. fucking boss guy over here since GDF's now retired. I next year for John Holt 10 want a coffin match because it's never been done in CHWA.
Oh yeah, we almost had a coffin match.
We almost did, but never.
And I don't want it to be against anybody in particular. I just, for some reason, even if it's just a fantasy night thing, I just really want to put somebody in a coffin. Or get put in a coffin, potentially.
Put them in a coffin.
And I just want to do it. I feel like it's never been done. I feel like my character, as like, because he's not even really a character anymore.
He's just you times like 1,000.
I feel like it's one of the things on my wrestling box that I want to tick. You know, I've never had a coffin match. I don't know a lot of wrestlers who can say they've had a coffin match.
I know I can't.
So I could even call it an
tables,
esophagus match or something cool and make it like Egyptian themed because my name's Exodus.
You mean sarcophagus?
Yeah, whatever.
Esophagus is an organ.
Dude, yeah.
See, no, we go with esophagus. It's the one lung match.
Yeah, and my last name's Exodus, so my lung could look Egyptian themed too. You know, Lord, eyes and triangles.
Lord, this is what I get, people. This is my brother.
Yeah, out of curiosity, what is the stipulation besides... So, like, yours is a coffin match.
We don't even have to put the coffin match thing in there.
No, it's like, what is a stipulation that hasn't been done at CHWA that you want to see at CHWA?
Honestly,
that's
mine's
a good
kind of old
question
school.
because there have been... Like, we've done some matches that were crazy that weren't John Holt's. Like, we did the Highway to Hell match when we were way younger, which was just... We had people with car... Open the trunk. Your goal was to throw the person in the car and get them. It was basically the equivalent of a backyarder's ambulance match.
Yeah.
It was you had a vehicle, had to get the person in it, and then the car drives off.
You got to get them in the trunk. They'll drive
and
off.
That's basically what an ambulance match was. Get them in the ambulance and over the top.
Would be cool.
But it's like
honestly, the one I want to see is a real stretcher match.
That'd be interesting.
Like where you got to beat the dude to a point, you can put him on a stretcher, and then you got to roll them all the way to the entrance.
Point and past the line.
Yeah, there's a line, and when all 4 stretcher wheels get past the line, the guy pushing the stretcher, he's the winner, right? And like this match seems like bizarre on the surface, but there's so many ways you can use a stretcher as a weapon that are creative that I've thought of that I've never seen done.
Yeah, like you said, the coffin match has never been done for us.
Match, yep.
Anything that's like the actual proper looking ambulance match, which obviously ambulance is a kind of... I'm not even going to imagine trying to find an ambulance.
Oh, I bet they're expensive.
You know what's
stretchers
funny?
are expensive.
There were 2 ambulances for sale down by my house last year.
Of course they were. we've
And,
had
legit
nothing.
ambulances
We've
thing.
never had a proper enclosed ring kind of match where
I'd really like to
like,
do like a Hell in a Cell.
a Hell in a
match.
Cells or steel cage. But the only difference between those were there was a gap outside the ring with Hell in a Cells. But obviously,
Well, and that's
the
what I'm saying.
funding
I
to
wish we
build
could have
something
a
you can
real...
stand on top of that's like a full actual second floor is insane to think about.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it would cost so much we wouldn't be able to do
No,
it.
but it's like.
I'd like
So
to have
just
a two ring
And this
match.
is just thinking a War Games match.
Yeah,
would
like
be
two
cool.
rings right next to
Because
each other.
two
where you
ring,
can
I've
just
always wanted
fight.
to mess around with one of those, but it's like
Imagine doing like a 6-man tag match in that. Like, we could just fight in two different.
just
fucking...
have the one team on one ring and the other team on the other, and they have to go all the way across the rings to get to each
meet
other.
in the middle and just beat the shit out of each other. You know,
what
this
else
is an
are
old
there
school
really?
one.
Is
I
there-
really wish we could do an empty arena match.
An empty arena match.
Yeah, like where we'd be in like a building and it would just be like two guys have fought so much that we're just they are at each other's throats so much that we're gonna take those two guys and a referee, we're gonna put them and a cameraman, we're gonna put them in an empty building and just let them fight until one of them literally cannot fight anymore. Empty arena, because it makes everything. I've watched 3 empty arena matches in my life, and for some reason it just makes everything feel so much more personal. I love them. It's cool.
You see cinematic matches, and that kind of sounds like what the arena, like an empty arena, kind of would be so close enough to, in certain ways, but a little fancier. But we've had I Quits, we've had Last Man Standings, we've had Iron Man. There's not the sad thing is there's just not that many crazy types of matches that aren't I want a hardcore death match of this, and I'm not one of those guys.
Yeah, no.
I'd be happy with just cage, or I'd like the coffin match idea. That'd be cool to be part of the first one. I was happy to be in the first when it was the first John Holt. It was the first ever combination match. It was submissions and table.
I think,
but I don't really know if there's any specific match I'd want to be in. Actually, there's one match I've always wanted to do, and it's not a really super crazy match. No ropes.
Yeah.
I want to wrestle a match where the ring has no rope set up. Because I have been a guy who's done flips and stuff, and people know I like to take advantage of the ropes. But then people think, oh, you're not going to be able to do shit without, you can't do a 450 if you don't have ropes. I don't have to do a 450 to beat your ass. I want to be able to beat somebody's ass and watch the guy go to run the ropes and fall off the ring because
I know.
I want to watch one of those. I want to be. That's one thing I've told you about wanting to do one of those for a long time.
I want to do a pure wrestling rules match with no ropes. That'd be really cool. So there's no rope breaks and you can't get out of the ring. You just have to stay on the base and wrestle. I feel like that would be the most intense wrestling match humanly possible. There's no running the ropes. There's no jumping off the top rope. You can't leave the base. You're not enclosed, so in theory you could try to throw your opponent off the base, and that would be a cool fucking concept. It'd be like sumo wrestling, but actual technical wrestling and jiu-jitsu and aspects probably of boxing and kickboxing and shit. That'd be cool. That'd be something different.
Well, let's end it with this. What are you most looking forward to at John Holt Yo 9 match? Whether it be something specific where you're walking to the ring, what is something you are looking forward to?
For me,
John Holt Yo
selfishly,
9?
opening the show. Because I don't give a fuck about the glamour and the glory of opening the show. It's gonna be going out there and getting to see the people and getting to feel that
Energy.
wave, that energy, that embrace, that really cool just feeling of keeping them on the edge, man, just with my words and getting to talk to them as a person. Because that's what I try to do when I go out there anyway, just on any other.
You don't want to go out there as the character and persona. You go out as yourself.
Yeah, I never go out when I do promos as Chris Exodus because I feel like that's bullshit. And Chris Exodus doesn't tell the truth. I do. So it's going to be really cool to go out and selfishly open the show on one of the nights and get to just tell all those people there a little bit about my brother, a little bit about the show, and why it's the best show ever. So that's, selfishly, it's my answer. The other thing I'm most looking forward to, I'm not going to lie, Tommy and Ricky. I can't get that out of my head. And then there's one other match that I know, and I'm not to be a spoiler guy, but I know is happening but I can't talk about right now.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be a banger. So yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I'm kind of along the same line of I wanted to initially just say that when it comes to John Holt as an introduction to the show, like you said, there's the energy you feel from that crowd, because once you really get that point across about the story, they really understand where our hearts are put into it. But then, as someone who I know that as the last founding father who's able to compete this year, as well as announce and introduce the crowd to the show like we always do, it's going to be going out there at that one night, whichever night it be, stand there in that ring, tell about my brother, talk about the meaning behind the show, that from us at least, our point of view, and how we want to try to speak as much as we can for the rest of our boys and the girls in the back. But then to come back out later, full gear, in that persona, when you have that energy, that's where it's almost like that energy you get from the crowd is a drug.
It is.
And it gives me the biggest adrenaline
It's
rush.
a shot, dude.
And there's a reason that we personally go as hard as we do when it comes to John Holt events. And I promise, and I guarantee that I am going to go for things that you've never seen me go for. I am going to do things you have never seen before in a wrestling ring, at a CHWA show or otherwise. And I'm going to prove that I have the reason and ability to be a heavyweight champion in all companies around this area besides just CHWA. And that, in the words of the famous Stone Cold Steve Austin, is the bottom line, because the one-man zoo told you.
Yeah, dude. He straight up said it too, man. It's gonna happen. John Holt Yo's the shit, dude. I don't even really know how to say it better than that. It's just the shit.
It's otherworldly.